Floyd's death sparked protests all over the world, and here in Montana, a peaceful protest in Whitefish turned ugly when a visibly angry man confronted demonstrators, yelling at them while standing only inches away from their faces. One of those protesters shares her story after a picture goes viral. MTN's Maureen Sue reports.
The words of my father that he used to speak to us as children when he would talk about, keeping us safe and all that stuff when we were children, he used to tell us that no matter what the threat, always look them in the eye, so they have to acknowledge that you're human. And in that moment, I felt that, I heard that, and I lived it. And I made sure I took off my sunglasses to look at that man, and I did it.
It's this picture that captures the moment Samantha Francine is talking about. Francine was peacefully protesting for the Black Lives Matter movement after the death of Minnesota man George Floyd outside of Whitefish City Hall on June 3rd, when she was confronted by an angry man later identified by Whitefish police as 51-year-old Jay Snowden.
It was a surreal experience. I really can't describe it. I didn't, like I said, I don't really know if I felt fear. I still haven't processed it enough to give a definite answer.
According to police, Snowden was later charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct. While she's experienced many positive things in Whitefish growing up, Francine says she was often met with discrimination.
The first time I remember being called the N-word, I was 7 years old. I wasn't invited to all the birthday parties because some parents were uncomfortable with my presence.
She says she struggled with her identity in a predominantly Caucasian community.
I started to try to make myself less African American. I started to straighten my hair, chemically straighten it regularly. I started, dyeing my hair. I tried to dye my hair blonde one time. I, went through periods of where I would try to starve myself so I would appear more thin, less curvy. And then, yes, when people would talk about the African-American community in a negative way, I either wouldn't speak up or I would agree in some sort of sense so that they would feel comfortable around me.
With Floyd's death, she knew she had to be a voice for her community, and she wants change.
But there's not a lot of people of color in the community that I'm seeing. So I do want to be a part of the community. I do want to be out so that there is somebody to look up to, an example, something that you can recognize and identify with.
She says the best way to start change is start with a conversation.
Francine says peaceful protesting will continue to take place in honor of the Black Lives Matter movement from 5 to 7 each night here outside of Whitefish City Hall for the next 2 weeks. In Whitefish, Maureen Sue, MTN News.
Whitefish Mayor John Mulfeld issued a statement saying the city of Whitefish condemns actions of hatefulness and stands by Francine.